Nathaniel, to your right. Over here.
I've lost you.
There you are. I guess first of all, you've got a big black red boot on your foot there. Can you please explain the injury, what happened there?
The last kick I threw, which I didn't even really need to throw, it was just a kind of, let's just throw something. You know, I caught my foot and I don't know, it might be broken, it might be fractured, it might be just bruising, but they insisted that I wore a boot for it, so yeah.
And talk us about that fight with Kate, because coming in, there's a lot of talk around the choice of opponent and obviously you deserve a ranking opponent. You were saying after this one, if you get a win, has to be rankings next. And obviously you've just beaten Kate there. You believe rankings is next for yourself?
I think so. I think everyone knows that KEITY could be top 10 in the world. You know, no one wanted to fight him. Let's be honest, Pitbull could have had a rematch with him after the missed weight and he didn't want any of that smoke off him. You know, he's an absolute savage. He's 16-1 with one loss that, he got injured in the fight in the first 10 seconds pretty much. Pretty much has finished all of his opponents in highlight reel fashion, has a massive hype train behind him. You know, he's talented for sure. So, coming into this fight, I won't lie, I was very nervous. You know, I had a lot of fears that this was an opponent that maybe was better than me in certain areas, and I had to make sure that I trained hard for it, and obviously it paid off. I'm excited to see the rest of his career, but for sure, I think that he's a lot better than some of the top 15 in the division already.
And split decisions are always a nervy affair. What was going through your mind as the split was getting read out?
It wasn't a split decision, was it? Do you know what I mean? I've always asked my coaches at the end of a fight, and believe me, my coaches will never tell me, yeah, you've won the fight if they're a bit unsure. You know, they'll give me that sort of, be ready for a bit of a 50-50. They were confident that I won. I was confident I won. I thought I won with 3. I'll have to watch it back, of course. MMA, I can't obviously decide what the judges choose, but yeah, I definitely had me at least 2 rounds up.
And last one from me, I just want to get your reaction to Wesley Myers' title fight victory at Cage Rise last night.
Wesley's my boy, man. Wesley Meyer will be in the UFC soon. He's one of the most talented fighters that I've ever trained with. Unfortunately, at the start of his career, he wasn't looked after very well. Got thrown in a lot of fights that he shouldn't have been in. That was never when he was with us. So his record doesn't speak volumes on how skilled that boy is. So Wesley Meyer, look out for him.
Nathaniel, just here. Just between rounds 2 and 3 in the fight, I could hear on the stream your coach Brad telling you, something about InTheCage's technique. Technically he's not really, he's not all that tidy and technical. And where did you see the gaps that you could exploit? Now that the fight is out of the way, I suppose, give us a little dive into the X's and O's. Where did you see the gaps that you could take advantage of?
Just that I think sometimes he was overthrowing everything. I box a lot, so there's throwing and there's boxing. So the plan for this fight was to box clever, box smart, and don't get caught in that gunfight, going in there swinging for the fences. And I think that he was happy to do that, and that's why it come down to fall back, use your jab, box smart. And I haven't seen the fight back, but I think that's what I did.
Obviously, we know he's not a ranked fighter coming into this fight, but you've spoken about how highly regarded he is in the world of mixed martial arts. We all know how good InTheCage really is. So what does this win do for you? Where does it land you next?
Well, I'd like to think someone like Pitbull. Obviously he was scheduled to fight Pitbull, so the UFC have obviously got a lot of confidence in KEITY, in how good he was, or how good he is. That fight obviously didn't happen. From what I'm aware, a lot of people turned KEITY down. I didn't. So I'd like to think now that, maybe someone like Pitbull, me and him could get it on in Brazil at some time. But yeah, I think he's been matched. But with if I've got injuries, then I might be out for a couple of months anyway. So hopefully we can get it on if he gets a win on his next fight.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Right here, Nathaniel.
Yes.
Congrats on a great fight.
Thank you.
Well, it started kind of slow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what was bothering you in the striking of InTheCage at the beginning of the fight. We saw you with a very high guard for a long time. What was bothering you?
Every fight that I've seen KEITY in, he comes out swinging. He goes aggressive. He puts everyone on the back foot. In the back of my head, I was thinking, man, this kid must have something. There's no way that everyone's been going on the back foot if he doesn't hit hard, if he doesn't hit fast. And yeah, my game plan was to not allow him to bully me. I was surprised how easy it was to kind of stand my ground. I thought he would be a lot more aggressive, and maybe I caught him with some shots that hurt him, I'm not sure. But yeah, I was maybe surprised on how well I kind of stood my ground, I think.
You implemented in your game plan a lot of low kicks. The low kicks were very popular back in 2022, and then it kind of faded away. Do you think your performance will bring them back?
I love leg kicks. I think they're great. You know, they're not too risky. If you throw a head kick and miss, you end up in a bad position. If I throw a body kick, he catches it, he takes me down. You know, with calf kicks, there's not too much that you can do off it, and they hurt. You know, believe me, if someone kicks you in the calf really hard, it does hurt.
Also, you look particularly ripped in this fight.
Thank you.
Was there a difference in your preparation coming up to this fight physically?
I definitely trained harder and took this fight more seriously than any other fight. I, in my head, overestimated KEITY everywhere. I kind of started to believe in maybe the hype. I was getting messages, this guy's better than you in everywhere, you know, the little trolls. Maybe it started to get to me a little bit, so I thought, right, what can I do? What's in my control? Train like your life depends on it. My last fight, maybe I was a little bit underestimating Jose de Galdo. You know, I went in there and maybe I wasn't quite tuned in from the first round. But tonight I was, you know, I made sure that I was going in there like my life depended on it.
Last question for me. Last time we talked about Merkizaya Costa, you didn't want to look past KEITY. Now can you maybe make a clear call out?
I've called out Pitbull, but I didn't realise he's already been matched. But yeah, I mean, I've got a few injuries, so hopefully we can get that on. If not, anyone in that top 15. You know, honestly, I don't know what I've got to do to get a top 15. So yeah, whoever the UFC want to give me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nathaniel, here. First of all, congratulations on your victory. Amazing display of skills again. Following with the low kicks, do you think is one of the keys why it's so hard to fight you, the way you throw kicks and the way you approach the fight with your legs?
I definitely think it's one of my strengths. I think it's something that a lot of fighters are going to be thinking about. I imagine that, you know, KEITY was thinking about that in the fights, in the training, especially that he's broken his leg before. So yeah, I like to think that it's in the back of my opponent's mind if they're thinking about it.
You're as well an amazing winning fight streak, which is unbelievable. And even though that, I feel that sometimes you're underestimated. Do you feel the same way?
Yes, 100%. I think everyone doubts me, and if I'm honest, I use that as fuel. So yeah, I'm a decision king right now, but yeah, keep doubting me.
Even though you're proving everything right to your side, you're being amazing. And the last question for me, Nathaniel, is how would be the ideal year for you, this 2026?
Just keep winning. Keep winning, chipping away at it, and getting obviously a ranked opponent and get a better paycheck. Thank you.
Nathaniel, just right here. Congrats. At the beginning of the fight, when he saw the first big shots, you switched him with a takedown and then an overhand, almost at the same time. Do you think that made him more careful because there was double threat? That was the question, and it was part of the game plan to make him think about, okay, he can counter me or wrestle me.
I wanted him thinking. Every fighter that I've seen him go against shells up and pretty much goes on the back foot from the get-go and allows him to just bully him. So in my head, I'm like, no, I want this guy to think. I want this guy to respect me. You know, I don't know if the crowd got to him, but in my head, I'm thinking, right, you're in my hometown now. You're not in your hometown anymore. You've got the crowd against you. I want him thinking about lots of things up there. While he's thinking about things up there, that allows me to do what I want to do. So, yeah, I think that I kind of maybe got away with that one.
And you're really sure after these 3 huge wins this year against Morgan in Abu Dhabi and this one that you're still underestimated? But because when we talk with people, a lot of people knows how much dangerous you are today. And I almost think that you're one of the worst matchup for everyone because you're good everywhere. So do you really think you are still underestimated?
Yeah, I think I'm underestimated. I think everyone's going to underestimate me until I beat them, and then they'll realise how good I am. You know, I've got the best team in the country, if not in the world, as far as I'm concerned, at the lightweights and below. I've got the best team of people around me. I've got my dad, who's an amazing coach, and he's the best dad that I can possibly ask for, who I've got in my corner every day. And these guys are constantly making me better. You know, something I noticed with KEITY's team is I think they were all that sort of yes man and like, you know, bigging him up. My coaches barely big me up. You know, it's only fight week where they'll give me a little bit of confidence. Before, they're always making me better. You know, any area that I can work on, they get me to work on it. Any little niggle my dad sees, straight away he's on it. It gets annoying sometimes, but it makes me better.
And last one for me, do you will refuse anything else as a top 15 for your next fight?
If I'm honest, it's hard to refuse the UFC. You know, obviously, it's my paycheck at the end of the day. So, you know, I am a fighter. I will fight anyone that they give me. Yeah, so I would obviously ask for a ranked opponent, you know, if they give me someone, but at the end of the day, if no one's available or people refuse, then I obviously will have to just take whatever I can get.
Can't wait to see you in the top 15.
Hi Nathaniel, here, over here. Did you feel any pressure about this because Keita was the double champion in the last organization before UFC? And how do you feel after fight when you know you beat him?
Yeah, I felt a lot of pressure, and obviously he was a lightweight champion and he was smoking guys at lightweight. I obviously have come up a weight, so now I'm going into a fight thinking, is this guy going to be too big? Is he going to be too powerful? And doubting myself. But as I say, you know, I used that doubt as fuel and made sure that I trained like my life depended on it, and I think it played off.
Hi, Nathaniel here. First of all, congrats on your win. A few months ago, you defeated a top prospect in Jose Delgado, now another top prospect in Keita. That's 4 consecutive wins for you. Do you consider yourself to be in the best moment of your career?
Yeah, I'm in my prime. You know, that's why I changed my name, because I'm not the prospect anymore. I'm the last Kingsman. But yeah, I'm in my prime. So this is the time I need the fights. You know, in a couple of years I'll probably be on a decline, and that's not when I want to be fighting prospects. So yeah, give me whoever you've got.
Hi Nathaniel, similarly Tata for yours. First of all, congrats on the win once again. And also, you said that maybe you overrated Keita during the build-up, approaching the fight and all that. Was that something that you actually felt in the fight, as in like, oh yeah, this guy's not as good as I prepared myself, or maybe it's just it's way better this way because now I'm just finding things to be way easier than I thought in training?
I think what my brain does without me kind of knowing it is it gives me a hell of a lot of anxiety, and I overestimate everyone. My brain, that little negative thought's telling me, this guy is too good for you, you're not good enough, you need to train harder, you know, and it makes me go in there expecting this guy to be godlike almost. And obviously he's not, no one is. So when I go in there and I'm expecting this guy to hit harder, hit faster, be more skilled than me in every area, and he's not, then the fight feels a lot easier than what I anticipated in my mind.
Thank you so much. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Hello, right here, please. Sorry, right here. Yeah. So it was a kind of tricky matchup for you, as you were fighting a tough guy that was making his UFC debut. When we talked to each other on Tuesday, you told me when you look at Keita's style, he was the perfect matchup for you. Now what we've seen, how the fight went, can you confirm you had the right lecture?
Yeah, I boxed clever that fight. That was the game plan. You know, this guy had never been beaten before, other than one loss being that he picked up an injury in the fight. He's destroyed everyone that they've put in front of him. He's very aggressive, very powerful, obviously a lot bigger than me. So the game plan was box clever, box smart, pick him apart. You might not get the finish, but the idea is that we come out healthy, don't get knocked out, and, you know, take home a win check.
And now you got the win. There was a lot of expectations on Keita's debut. You know, there is this phenomenon when people are huge prospect and they come out from another organization and they make the UFC debut. Can you say something, can you say a word about what that means to come as a huge prospect but losing his UFC debut on Keita's case?
No, if anything, Keita's going to be a world champion. The problem was that he got me on his debut. You know, so I think people, again, that's underestimating me. I'm probably going to get loads of comments now saying that Keita shouldn't have been in the UFC and he was the octagon guy and nothing more. No, I think that guy can go in there and handle the top 15. But guess what? I believe that I can handle anyone in the world. So, yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't that I got matched with Keita, it was that he got matched with me for this fight.
How was the feeling of fighting again in London, your hometown?
The best. That crowd, cheers, you know, the boost for him, it definitely hits home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Nathaniel. Firstly, congratulations. Obviously, you fought really measured, brilliant fight. In my opinion, you won quite easily. However, being in front of a London crowd, your home crowd, how difficult is it not to channel that energy and to actually get into a war and just remain focused and keep the job on hand?
It can be tough. And that's where I've got good coaching. You know, they said to me after every round, keep your hands up, don't fall into that dogfight that he's trying to bring you in, because that's where you're going to potentially get caught. Box clever, box smart, and do what you're supposed to do. And yeah, I'm just grateful that I've got the best coaches that I could possibly ask for.
One thing I did pick up, and I think a lot of people picked up as well, is the fact that you did stand your ground, as you said. You sort of took the centre of the octagon. You didn't really slide back out of range. You'd use your head movement. What is it about Kate's game you saw where you felt comfortable enough to just stay in the pocket when you needed to and then keep range when you needed to?
You can't let a bully you. You know, you'll tell kids when they go to school, if you're the weak link, then they're going to bully you. And I know that every fight that he's had, the guys have come out, gone straight on the back foot and allowed him to do it. So I refuse. You know, I say, no, I'm going to stand my ground. And I think it threw him off. You know, and my coaches were saying that he doesn't like it. He doesn't like not being on the front foot. So, yeah, just don't let a bully you.
And last one from me, you call yourself the decision king, but there's different ways of getting decisions. I think you've shown that even though you're getting decisions, you're winning these fights and it's clear. Do you think now you'll start to be rewarded from the UFC in terms of getting those higher profile fights and putting you on a higher pedestal?
I would like to think so. I think it's quite obvious that I'm not, you know, taking someone down and holding them up against the fence and just grinding out a decision. I'm fighting like, look, if we do another 20 rounds, I'm going to come out victorious. Unfortunately, at the weight division that we're at, 3-5 minutes isn't a long time. You know, I could go in there and do another 5 fights now. So, yeah, you know, to chase a finish, of course, it's going to be for entertainment purposes, etc. But at the end of the day, I've got to box clever. There's fights where I've gone in too hasty and got caught, and I need to box smart and fight smart. I keep saying box like I'm a boxer, but yeah, you know, obviously I'm more of a striker than a grappler, and I'd like to think that even though, yeah, I am going to the decision, I'm putting on fights that the crowd hopefully are enjoying.
Congrats to the South London crowd.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.